Hello and welcome to the channel. I am John of Kaduna, and here we talk about environmental sustainability from a Nigerian point of view. Before we continue with the video, sorry for the way my voice is. I'm battling with the flu, but it's not always like this. In this video, I'll be sharing easy eco-friendly tips that you could start to become more eco-friendly this year and beyond. Being eco-friendly means living in a way that is not harmful to the environment. Now more than ever, we have seen the importance of living an eco-friendly lifestyle, especially with the worsening environmental crisis like the change crisis, which was caused by our lifestyle in the first place. So now more than ever, we need to make a switch to a more sustainable lifestyle. And I have easy tips for you to make that switch. Before we dive into the rest of the video, first let's do an activity. You see that button that is underneath me as you're watching this video that has this thumbs up icon. Please click on it. That's the like. You're liking this video. It helps the algorithm. See the subscribe button just underneath me as you're watching this video. Please click on it if you have never clicked on it before. Subscribe to this channel too. It helps us grow. Now to the rest of the video. I'll show you that it is very easy to be eco-friendly with these 20 tips. These tips cut across different aspects of our lives, from the office, school, travel, our homes. These are tips that you could replicate in different aspects of your life, and I hope that it will help you. Number one, put off light bulbs when they are not in use. To me, I think it is not ideal especially when it is daytime and the sun is shining, the natural light that God has given us, and then light bulbs are still on. Unless there's an absolute need for it, just put off those light bulbs. Even at night, when you're not in the room, put off the light. It helps to reduce your electricity bill, for one. It also helps with reducing electricity waste. For instance, in Nigeria, most of our electricity is being produced through hydroelectric means, and a whole lot of fossil fuels is needed to be able to generate the electricity that we need and that we use. When you waste electricity, you're wasting the resources that is needed to like generate power for us. And we know that power not everyone in Nigeria has access to power. So you wasting electricity reduces the chances of someone that has not yet gotten access to power to having that power, and it's also affecting the environment badly. So electricity waste is a thing. Number two, wash your clothes less. This could be a bit touchy, especially as we live in a warmer climate here in Nigeria. At times that you've worn a piece of clothing for just a few minutes or so, or a few hours or so, and you didn't stain it. You could just air dry it and wear it again. Most of our clothing are made with some form of plastics, and when we wash, microplastics are given off, which is not healthy for us because it goes into the soil, it goes into our water, and we end up ingesting them in one form or the other. It's already been reported that microplastics are found in fetuses, that is unborn baby. That means there's a possibility that we will have microplastics in our bloodstreams, which is not healthy for us. So if you can, don't wash as often. If you can, but if your clothes are dirty and you've sweated a lot in them, please go and wash them. I'm not encouraging body odor. Number three, don't throw away wearable clothes. In Nigeria, we have people that are very well privileged, and at times having a cloth with a stain or with a tear is just too much for them, and you find them throwing away clothes. It is so out of touch, especially in a country that is one of the poverty capitals of the world. Please don't throw away wearable clothes. If it's just a tear and you feel you're too big to mend it, there are people that will gladly collect those clothes and mend it and wear it. A lot of resources are being put into making one t-shirt, water, cotton, transportation, fuel that they use for transporting the clothes to you and all. A lot of things goes into making items, and so it is so unfair on the resources on the earth when you misuse something. If it's still wearable, please give it out instead of just throwing it away. Number four, shop locally. When you shop locally, you're supporting the local vendors, local business owners. It also helps the naira. And environmentally wise, it's better for the environment because most of the small business owners use the resources that are around them. But when you rely heavily on items that are imported, a lot of resources are put into making sure that those items get to your doorstep. the transportation, the fossil fuels that are being emitted, the carbon emissions that are being emitted, they are way higher than where you get it from people around you. Wherever, buy local to grow the naira. Number five, limit food waste. Food waste food waste goes beyond you just having stale food that you throw away. Even the peels of vegetables and fruits that you use are food waste, which could be converted to something else. There are a lot of recipes using things that are otherwise termed as food waste. Also, food waste, when they are not properly disposed, give up, maintain, because especially in Nigeria, where we have a huge waste management problem. These waste are usually put in waste dumps where they are contaminated with other types of waste, and they give off methane. Methane is one of the greenhouse gases that contributes to climate change. Number seven, practice sustainable tourism. Now that tourism is being decolonized, especially in Africa and Nigeria, and we have a whole lot of Nigerians going about to tourist sites and all. That is great. I'm going to make a whole video about how to be a sustainable tourist. But one thing for you to note is that when you go to these places, please do not litter, please do not pollute the environment, and try as much as possible to be as sustainable as you can when you're around those places. It's also good for those tourist sites. You don't want to spoil the beauty for other people. Number seven, unplug electronics. You think that after using electronics and you just put off the switch, it is fine. Electricity bill is not running. As long as the plug is still plugged into the wall, into the socket, electricity is still passing through that electronic, and your electricity bill is like sapping part of your electricity bill, and also electricity waste is ongoing. So when you're done using an electronic, it's not just enough for you to put off the switch, unplug it from the socket, unplug it from the wall, and then you're good to go. Number eight, backlight. Do you know that when you're traveling using airplanes, the more luggages the airplane has to carry, the more fuel it needs to fuel its journey. Try and pack light. If it's not important, please just limit the amount of luggages that you will take with you when you're traveling on, especially on airplanes. Number nine, give away perishable foods when you are traveling, especially if you're traveling for long. It is so unwise, especially if you live in Nigeria where electricity is not stable. It's very unwise to travel and then you leave perishable foods in your fridge or your freezer. You could come back and meet all of them, they've gotten bad, and then that's food waste and wasting resources, which is not good for the environment. If before you travel, give out those food to people that really need them and we appreciate them. Number 10, use less paper. Especially now that the world is more digitalized and you could send documents, you could do a whole lot on the internet, or there are a whole lot of apps that make office work more digitalized and centralized and easy to do. Try and reduce the paper waste. A lot of trees are cut down to make the papers that you use. So please and please try and reduce the amount of paper waste that you have. Try and make sure that documents in your offices are digitalized. Number 11, have a reusable water bottle. This is a bit touchy because in Nigeria, water, like clean drinking water, is a luxury in many parts of Nigeria. If you are fortunate enough to have a clean drinking water at your beck and call, please have a reusable water bottle and just filter your water and have it instead of buying water that comes in plastic bottles or plastic bags. Plastic pollution is actually a big thing for us in Nigeria, and if you can try to reduce it at your own end, it will go a long way in us combating this plastic pollution menace. Number 12, encourage recycling. Yes, we have a lot of plastics and a lot of waste that we cannot avoid creating, but if recycling those waste instead of just throwing them away creates a circular economy, which is better for our economy and also better for the resources that have been used to make this product. A lot of all the resources that are used to make all the products that we have are finite. They'll be finished at some point. So if we keep on using and using and using and without thinking of What's going to happen in 100 years from now when these resources are no longer available? We are not going to live like a healthy ecosystem for our children and even the children yet on board. So recycling helps to make sure that we create that loop that when you use and reuse, you recycle so that the resources that were used to make the product initially can be reused to make another one. Since I moved to Abuja, I recycle with Ecobarter, and they even use tech to ensure that recycling is easy for households. So I just recycle from the comfort of my home with my phone, and they come pick up my waste from my home. You could try that too. I will input my referral link in the description box down below. Number 13, donate clothes. You might say, oh, you're not throwing away clothes, but you keep on buying more clothes that you will actually need or you actually wear. Please, if you have any clothes sitting in your closet you've not worn in 6 months, please give it out. Give it out to someone. Someone actually really, really needs it. And it also, because sometimes when you keep clothes for a long time, they could spoil. Clothes do spoil if they are not kept well. So instead of letting the resources that I'm used to make those clothes go to waste, give it to someone that is going to appreciate it and make best use of it. Number 14, work more. Walking is even very good for your health, your general health, and it's also good for the environment. If you reduce your dependence on vehicles that mostly run on fossil fuels and try to impute walking into one of your real forms of transportation. After all, God gave us legacies. Please make best use of it and let's try to save the environment one step at a time. Number 15, use food containers. Sometimes a tiny thing that could make you reduce or limit food waste is how you store the food in the first place. Use food containers. Make sure that you store the food properly so that you'll be able to reduce food waste and at the same time reduce polluting the environment through food wastage. Number 16, reuse first. Yes, recycling is great, but have you tried reusing? There are a lot of things that make their way to our dustbins that if you reuse them, it's better for the environment and also more cost effective for you. There's some food containers that you can reuse to make vases in your homes. There are even plastics that you can reuse to make a whole lot of things. There are a lot of things on the internet. Make the internet your friend. If you're very handsy and you're great with doing crafts, there are a lot of things that you throw away in your dustbins that have great value in them that if you reuse them before even recycling them, they're better for you and better for the environment. Number 17, read ebooks. I'm one of those people that prefer reading paperback books, but books are made from paper and paper are made from trees. You have to cut down trees to make the papers that are used to make books, and also the resources that are used to make and also the resources that are used to get those books to you is also harmful to the environment. So if you could reduce that and instead appreciate the authors that you love most and enjoy the stories that you love most through digital forms, through ebooks, then that's better for us and the environment. Even me too, I need to really learn to do that. Number 18, reduce using tissues. There are a lot of things that we use tissue for that we could just skip. Kitchen rolls, let us use napkins instead, like reusable napkins instead. Serviette, let's use napkins instead, reusable napkins instead. Tissue paper, for us to use it to do our business, let us use water instead. It's even stated that it's better for us to even use water to wash our down there than even tissue is healthier. If you reduce the amount of tissue that you use, it will go a long way in saving our trees and helping us retain our carbon sinks. Number 19, use public transportation. Now, there is a gray area with this tip because in Nigeria, public transportation is very, very broken. And it is even saner and better for your mental health to use your own car or have your own form of transportation than relying heavily on public transportation. But if you can, carpool instead. Have more people drive in your car with you, or you have friends that you guys can carpool together instead of everyone having their own car and driving to the same destination. if you have colleagues that you live in the same area with, you guys that also have sense, so because having sense is very important. That have sense, you guys can couple together and you reduce the amount of cars that we have on the roads that are causing carbon emissions. We need these cars to get to one point or the other. We need these vehicles to get to one point or the other. But if we are able to hack our public transportation, you could couple with people. You could use in recent times, there are some startups that are beginning to put sanity in the public transportation sector. So you could use them instead. Number 20, limit air travel if you can. Aeroplanes are one of the highest emitters of carbon, and especially seeing that they're always up there in the sky, up there. They're one of the worst carbon emitters, but people have to travel, especially long distances, and they're very convenient. But if it's not very important for you, and if it's not very important for you, please try and limit the air travel. If you put at least five or at least one of these eco-friendly tips that I've given you into practice, it will go a long way in ensuring that we are able to fight against climate change and we're able to have a sustainable environment and live a sustainable future for our children and our children yet unborn. If you've enjoyed this video up to now, thank you very much for watching. And please tell me which of these tips that you'll be putting into action this year. Tell me in the comment section down below. I love reading your comments. Thank you very much once more for watching this video. Please like and subscribe if you have not subscribed yet. Until next time, remember that you can be the change that you want to see. Joanne of Kaduna, signing out.